I'd like to talk a little about the trade policies that the geniuses in Washington have stuck us with. But first, there's a few items here that I'd like you to know about that maybe you don't, maybe you do, but I'll give them to you anyway. The president has given $2 billion to Petrobras, which is a Brazilian oil company, to drill in oil wells in deep water, much deeper than the disaster in the Gulf of Mexico that we had recently, and which made so much of a fuss. But he's given them $2 billion to drill in deeper water than that. I think Exxon or one of the American oil companies probably would have done it if he had just given him permission to do so, without asking him for $2 billion. Then, of course, there's $2.8 billion to Colombia to build an oil refinery. Again, an American oil company or one of the foreign companies that's based in the United States would have built this oil refinery if he had just given the go-ahead. So that's almost $5 billion. I guess when you figure in the small change, it's $5 billion spent for nothing, really. Totally unnecessary. Okay. Now trade. George Washington, our greatest president by far, warned us against foreign entanglements. Now we find ourselves in such a tangle of trade treaties that our Congress, which by the Constitution is supposed to regulate our trade, has given the authority to foreign commissions made up mostly of bureaucrats in foreign countries, which now regulate our commerce. This should be totally unconstitutional, but of course it's another one of the Supreme Court's stupid decisions. We have so-called free trade has become almost a religion in Washington, and I'm about to commit an act of heresy by saying that free trade sucks. Every free trade agreement we make causes job losses in this country. They keep telling us that free trade with some of these countries will create jobs here because we'll be exporting our products to these countries that we have free trade agreements with. Now, if somebody can tell me how many jobs have been created by a free trade agreement with Guatemala, I'd like to know about it, because so far I'm ignorant of it. Most of the countries that we have free trade agreements with are similar to Guatemala and the third world countries, which really don't have the money to buy anything from us. So we're really not exporting anything from them. But what we're getting is cheap goods that are made by people who've taken jobs away from Americans. If you look at your TV or computer, you'll see it's made in China or Singapore or someplace like that. And if you look at any textiles, they come from Haiti or Thailand or someplace else. So, and as far as steel, well, this steel would be one of the industries that pull us out of the economic mess we're in by providing jobs for people. They're not they don't have to be college graduates. I mean, this is one of the things that people who couldn't or either didn't want to go into didn't want to go to college, and possibly even those who dropped out of high school could go to a factory and get a job, either in steel or assembling TV sets or something like that. But that isn't true anymore. Our steel industry is a pale shadow of its former self. Now our steel comes from Brazil or China or some other godforsaken place. And as I said, the TV sets are made in China. I mean, these are the things that the smart boys in Washington have saddled us with. If we're gonna get out of this mess we're in, we're going to have to get out of these trade agreements and bring these industries back to the United States so we can employ our people. We made NAFTA. We made the NAFTA deal with Mexico, and Ross Perot at the time predicted there would be a great sucking sound of jobs fleeing to Mexico. Well, that's exactly what happened. We exported industries to them, and they exported wetbacks to us. As I said, George Washington warned us to stay out of farming entanglements, which we've ignored. It's strange that, well, it's not strange because we had really great men in those days. George Washington and Thomas Jefferson and Benjamin Franklin and Alexander Hamilton. It was a blessing that those brilliant men got together to found this country. And what do we have now? Barack the incompetent, Harry Reid. I don't know what he is. I think he's from another planet. And Mitch McConnell, who is a left-wing facilitator, and a whole bunch of, compared to our founding fathers, they're political midgets. So I think we should, in the next election, really look over the people that are running, and try to elect people who really have the best interest of the United States at heart, and not the special interests which now purchase. Well, we have the best government that the money can buy, and it's because of the huge amount of money that's needed to even run a campaign. And I mentioned the other day that our rulers in Washington, I call them rulers in Washington, I'm sure they didn't like that. They'll say they're representatives, but they don't represent us. Most of the people didn't want Obamacare. We got Obamacare. Most of the people didn't want to raise the debt limit. They raised the debt limit anyway, and they committed us to go even further into debt by raising the debt limit to over $2 trillion. And they say that in 10 years we'll be 7 or 8 trillion further in debt. They should stop borrowing money, and just we have to exist on the money that comes in. We need an austerity program. Now our rulers in Washington have said, well, we have to have some shared sacrifice. I think that should begin with them telling us what they're going to sacrifice before they ask the people to sacrifice anything. They're good at talking, but they're not so good at acting. And 99% of them don't deserve to be re-elected. So at the next election, don't vote for any incumbent. I almost said incompetence, but that fits too. Don't vote for any incompetent. Yeah, incumbents, especially the incompetent ones. So I guess that's about all for now. I even made myself laugh. Okay, thanks for watching.